Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface, part of TGN. Now, Blizzard's World of Warcraft expansion Mists of Pandaria is just about to get its first content patch, patch 5.1. And having tested it on the PTR, I'm sorry to say that it is very thin on the ground in actual new content. And also, some of the content which it does bring to the game is actually going to be auctioned off in the black market auction house, which just seems ridiculous for a subscription-based game. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing a little series at the moment to show you some of the free-to-play MMOs that are out there, which I personally own. This is not an exhaustive list. Now, a couple of days ago, I brought you Star Wars The Old Republic, and today is the turn of DC Universe Online. And very much like Star Wars, this is a big licensed title, and also very much like Star Wars, I feel that it fell for the trap of thinking that the license was going to be big enough to carry the game even if the content wasn't quite there and ready. Well, in both cases that proved to be incorrect, and both games hemorrhaged a lot of subscribers until they were forced to go to a free-to-play model. Now, DCU claim that it was always their intention to convert this game to a free-to-play model, but I think that's utter bollocks. Because when you did buy it, you got your first 30 days for free. If you were to continue your subscription, it would cost you a staggering £12 a month to do so. Now that to me doesn't sound like a company that ever had any intention of turning this game to a free-to-play model. That to me sounds like a company that wanted to use a license to exploit as much money out of people as humanly possible. But free to play it went, and their profits actually increased by a staggering 750%. But whether or not that was still enough to cover the costs of the game and also the amount of people that decided to leave it is yet to be seen. Now, DCU Online has its own unique graphical feel, which very much goes in favour of the game. Very much like WoW, when you see footage of it, you do go, ah, that's the World of Warcraft, or oh, that's DCU Online. When you look at something like Aeon, or Guild Wars 2, or Terra, they all look very kind of generic Korean MMO-esque, and you couldn't really tell the difference between them. That's, I think, one of the problems when moving to a more realistic, inverted commas, graphical feel. And it'd be interesting to see whether or not the Elder Scrolls Online, which has also adopted the same, goes into that vein as well. Now, it's not long before you're already teaming up with big heroes like Batman and Superman and such, and you do feel heroic from the get-go, which is always nice. You do feel strong and powerful. And the customization that's involved with DCU Online, even from level 1, is absolutely staggering. Every bit of gear that you're wearing, you can change the colour of in an instant. You find a new piece of gear, if you equip it, you learn that style, and you can change styles exactly when you want to as well. Customization is paramount, and customization is fantastic. DCU want your character to be completely unique, and that's where games like World of Warcraft and such seriously fall down. Although Blizz have now introduced stuff like transmog, you're still very limited with what you can do. You can't change any colour schemes, you can't change character height, weight, build, things like that, which can just make everybody seem like your own special, unique little snowflake. Questing is relatively standard fare in the game, but when you're accomplishing them with superhuman abilities, it does make that chore a little bit better. But exploration is something that DCU seriously want you to get involved with, and scattered around the cities of Gotham and Metropolis are various hidden items, and also mini games like this little checkered flag race. If you complete the course in a set period of time, you can get yourself rewards, high levels of experience, and extra items which can be used to create styles for customizing your character. These little trinkets take the form of either collectible items or items that can be used when you're crafting certain materials within the game as well. Now, there are 3 methods of transportation in DCU Online. There's acrobatics, super speed, and flying. Now, they all get you there in roughly the same time, but you can't help but feel you're at distinct disadvantage if you don't choose the flying, because the peripheral views that you get from the air seem to significantly outweigh whether or not you're bouncing around on the ground or climbing up the side of a building. But either or, if you're playing on a PvE server, it doesn't matter little. It's when it comes into a PvP server that things could go horribly wrong for you. It does have its own dungeon system as well, which is a little bit needlessly complicated just to set up. But when you do get inside, the rewards are there for you to get, and it does offer high levels of experience to level up your character, which does seem to progress very, very quickly indeed. You never feel bogged down. But if you fancy a change, fancy something new, want to create a new character, want to create a villain, then DCU Online offer you a very generous 5 character slots, unlike the stingy Star Wars, which simply offer you a meagre 2. This generosity definitely lends itself to be taken advantage of too. Try to make some different characters, different customization, new weapons, new abilities, and possibly even different allegiances. And before you know it, you've actually sunk a lot more hours into the game than you initially first thought that you're ever going to. And also, there is the potential then to visit their own cash shop and spend some of your hard-earned money on the little trinkets and content which lies within. Now, the maximum level for the game is only a very low level 30, but that's definitely not where the progression stops for your character. Even though you hit the maximum level, you tend to have a very soft leveling up process from there on in. Although it doesn't class the level itself, it does include your abilities, and you can still earn more and more skill points to boost your trees and hopefully get to all the abilities that you wanted to pick, allowing you to have the maximum level of customization possible. The gear itself keeps increasing in stats too, so you could have 2 level 30s back to back, but one could be considerably more powerful than the other. And you do then have the ability, of course, to go into raids and further dungeons, but they are limited depending on which content you own and whether or not you decide to purchase more. But it's never rammed down your throat like it is with Star Wars. You never feel in any way emotionally blackmailed into purchasing the content. With DCU Online, you always feel like a valued customer whether or not you spend any money on the game or none whatsoever. And that makes it a very interesting and attractive prospect to revisit on numerous occasions. PvP is available too, not only to your own character, but also you have the ability to play as your favourite superheroes or villains as well and test out their abilities against other players. But if you are a low level on a PvP server, do expect to get ganked on numerous occasions until you reach the top level. DCU Online certainly doesn't come anywhere close to Star Wars in relation to story, but it doesn't feel like it was ever intended to. The missions which you do are ridiculous. The characters that you interact with are absolutely ludicrous. And that is the whole point of being in a comic-based MMO. That's the whole point of reading comics in general. It's just pure, unadulterated escapism. And it's escapism which does tend to prod away at that little child inside of you that always wanted to be a superhero when they were younger. The question is, can you make your character exactly how you imagined yourself to be? So if you decide to play this game complete and utterly free of charge, you'll find that there's absolutely plenty of stuff for you to do. You never feel as if Sony are trying to hold you back from advancing within the content. You're never pressured into purchasing anything either. You might find the odd occasion where you find a lockbox that you can't open unless you have a specific key, and these specific keys can only be purchased from the Sony store. But other than that, logging out of the game will open a browser window to the Sony site to try and entice you. Otherwise, you are left complete and utterly alone and never guilted into getting any of their content. If you do decide to invest a little bit of your cash in the game, you will actually find that the content is reasonably priced as well. If you want to purchase one of the numerous expansion packs which they seem to have on offer, you're going to need to spend roughly 1,000 Sony station points, and that approximates to about £4 in cash. That's €5, or roughly $6.50. This touchy-feely method absolutely embarrasses the hell out of EA and BioWare, who have an atrocious heavy-handed way to try and get money off you with Star Wars. And if I was going to spend some of my money on either of these MMOs, then I definitely think DCU would win that battle purely for the manner in which it treats me as a potential customer. It's never going to be the greatest game in the world, but you will definitely have lots of fun on it, and considering it's now free to play, absolutely well worth a little look. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. Please do like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. Take care everybody. Bye bye.